What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Sports here. I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be making a video on the top 25 unrestricted free agents heading into free agency this Saturday, July 1st, Canada Day. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the list that TSN has up. They have the top 50, but I decided to go top 25 because you guys know I talk a lot and that video could go for hours if it was the top 50. A couple things. First, I just want to thank Post to Post. I was recently featured in one of their videos. I've been getting to know them for the past couple days and it's pretty awesome. I can't wait to do more collaborations with you guys. I'm sure most of you guys know who Post to Post are. They're great guys, great videos, and like I said, I look forward to making more videos with them. And if you're a new subscriber coming from that channel, thank you for giving me a chance subscribing to this channel. I won't let you down, I promise. We're going to be talking hockey. I look forward to talking to each and every one of you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun, and this video is going to be fun. But just another thing real quick, July 1st, like I said, this Saturday, I will be doing a live stream. For those of you who are new to the channel, I do live streams whenever there's a big NHL event or a big sporting event, and I'm going to be talking about all the free agents. We're going to have a conversation, do a live stream, and interact with everybody. It's going to be so much fun, so do check that out. And yeah, if you're new to these videos, please subscribe, comment, whatever you would like to do, and let's get right into this video. So like I said, this isn't personally my list that I would have came up with. I went with TSN's list because their list was already set up, and I really wanted to get this video out for you guys and not, you know, take forever trying to come up with my own list. But anyways, this is pretty accurate. I know there's some guys on this list that aren't going to be named, but I'll name them a bit later. So at number 25, they have Dan Girardi, who was recently bought out by the New York Rangers. Probably can fit in on somebody's bottom pairing at this point. I don't know, maybe teams will like to have him as their veteran presence in there. He's not terrible, but he's not good either, and that's why the Rangers let go of him. If you want to try him in the top 4, teams probably will try that out. He's, like I said, he's not terrible, but probably better in the bottom 2 pairing. Also, at number 24 is Mike Fisher from the Nashville Predators. Now, let me know what you guys think. It's his career over. He did not have a very good playoff for the Nashville Predators. He's slowly, you know, declining. He had a decent regular season, but he himself has even said, you know, maybe it's time for me to, you know, hang up the skates and, you know, call it a career. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of teams interested in him for their 3rd or 4th line. He's not going to get paid big bucks, and I think his best option would be to go back to Nashville if they want him back, or maybe retire. He's had a great career. At number 23 is Jonathan Bernier. Now, as a Leaf fan, I've, you know, seen a lot of him. He had a pretty good regular season. The Ducks were happy with what they got from you know, Toronto. It was just a deal that they needed a goaltender, and they ended up taking Enroth as well. But Bernier actually isn't a bad backup goaltender. In the playoffs, he wasn't too hot when he had the chance to, you know, take over the crease for a little bit. But Bernier is a good backup, and I'm sure a lot of teams will go after him as a backup option. Some teams, I doubt, will look at him as a starter. They could try him there for a little bit. And, you know, I honestly feel bad for Jonathan Bernier because I think he's better than what he's been playing, and we'll have to see if teams will give him a shot. The next player on the list is Kris Versteeg. Kris Versteeg comes in at number 22. I believe he's 31 years old. He's a guy, again, just a good veteran guy. He'll put up some points for you. Like I said, the veteran presence is probably the biggest thing that he can bring, because from what I've heard from players, obviously not personally, but, you know, from reports on Twitter and articles and such, he's actually a pretty decent mentor, and he's good with helping out the younger players. But he's not a bad player either. He'll put up points, not a ton, but he's good as a bottom 6 forward. At number 21, Brian Elliott. Now, we all know how his stint with Calgary went. This was a deal that disappointed me as a fan of hockey, because when Calgary acquired Brian Elliott, I thought it was a steal. I thought Calgary was finally going to have a goaltender that they could rely on. Having Johnson as the backup, that's a good, solid tandem. And then it was like he just kept getting lit up. And I really did feel bad for Brian Elliott, and the playoffs wasn't his thing either. He was not good. Johnson wasn't very good towards the end of the season, and in the playoffs too. And it's unfortunate because I like Brian Elliott. I think he's a good goalie. Will the team give him a shot? I don't know. It's definitely not going to be Calgary now that they've got Smith. I doubt they'll bring him back as a backup goaltender. It's highly unlikely that he'll even want to go back to Calgary. So let me know what you guys think. Is Elliott going to get another chance somewhere else? Or is his time done as a starting goaltender and he'll be a serviceable backup somewhere else? At number 20, Jordan Weal. He is a very young player, I believe at 25 years old. He's been turning some heads. He was very impressive this season. Teams are definitely looking for bottom six centermen. Maybe he slides into the second line role for a team, but he's definitely going to get a pay raise and he'll be a guy to watch. I know he's, visited with some teams and one of them actually included Toronto, so that's pretty interesting. At number 19, Ryan Miller. Now, this is a case where I think that he's just going to go back to Vancouver. Ryan Miller is still a good goaltender in the NHL. He can start games for any team. Ryan Miller and the Canucks seem to have a pretty decent relationship, and I know that a lot of Canucks fans are actually impressed with the way he played. And the Canucks are a building team, so I'm not sure how Ryan Miller really feels about continuing to be on a building team. But I'm sure that there'll be a deal in place there, and if not, another team's going to get a pretty good starter. I'm just not sure where that fit would be. Radim Verbrata comes in at number 18, and he is due for a raise. Not a big raise because I don't think teams are going to invest in him. He's getting up there in age. In the hockey world, he's not an old person, but he is getting up there in age. He put up, I believe he had 20 goals this season, still puts up points, could play in the top six depending on what team he plays for, but I see him more as a third line fit, and people can disagree with that. That's fine, but that's just where I see him, and he'll be a good fit as a veteran presence on a contending team for the right amount of money. So hopefully he'll strike a deal with a team that's going somewhere deep into the playoffs. That would probably be a good fit for him, putting up points there. But you could see him go to a building team as well and then get shipped off at the deadline. But I would expect him to get a deal pretty quick in July. Getting into some defensemen here at number 17, Andrei Markov. Now, we all know that he probably wants to stay in Montreal. He reportedly is looking for a 2-year deal. I believe the term's somewhere in the $5 or $6 million range. I could be wrong. It could be around 4, but still, I'm not sure if that's the price that Montreal wants to pay. And speaking of price, they're not trying to spend too much money to keep themselves into some trouble for next season when they have to sign the real deal Carey Price. I know they have a little bit of cap space right now. Somebody said they had something around 21 million of cap space. And yeah, it looks like they can spend that and oh great, lots of cap space. But Carey Price next year, they still have to try to get Radulov and Galchenyuk. Is he going to stay? And then Markov, I don't know if he's going to end up staying on the Montreal Canadiens. And he's a serviceable defenseman and can play in anybody's top 6 defense. Coming in at number 16 is Michael Del Zotto. Again, just another good defenseman that can slide into a top 6. And he's probably not going to get a huge pay raise. I know the defensive market is pretty low right now, and these aren't really great free agents, but at the same time, I could definitely see somebody overpaying a little bit for him because, again, the defenseman market is very small this year. You're not going to get a lot of top 2 guys or, hell, even top 4 guys on because this list isn't that great. But he is a good defenseman. He can slide in to a top 6, like I said, and he will do good for any team that just needs a solid defenseman to log some minutes and could step into a bigger role if needed. He won't do an amazing job, but you never know. He's just a good pickup for any team. At number 15 is Dmitry Kulikov. Now, I would not have him this high in the list as top unrestricted free agents. I know number 15 isn't like some crazy good number either, but at the same time, I'm not sure I would put him this high up. He's overpaid. He doesn't put up a ton of points. He is young. He didn't really do that much for Buffalo. I'm not hating on the guy, but I believe he was paid just over $4 million, and I'm not sure he put up the production to match that cap. I don't know if Buffalo's still interested in him. Let me know, Sabres fans. Are you hoping he comes back? Is Buffalo still interested? I haven't looked too in-depth into that. I've been reading Twitter like a madman trying to figure stuff out. But if anybody has any insight on that, let me know. At number 14 is Thomas Vanek. Now, I know Florida has a little bit of cap trouble. I'm not sure how their talks have gone back and forth there. if he wants to come back, I guess that would be a decent fit. But Vanek is also a guy that's getting up there. He's had a pretty good career. Any team that's looking to fill out their bottom six will be looking at Vanek. Depending on how much points he can put up this year, that would be a good fit for a team that's slowly building, looking to add a little bit of veteran presence and a guy who can put up points on that, second or third line, depending on where they want to use him. He would be a quality pickup, and let's see if maybe Florida will want to keep him. At number 13, it's Jaromir Jagr. Now, how could you not like this guy? He's been amazing his entire career. He's still putting up points. Try taking the puck away from this guy. He's a brick wall, and I believe he'll want to stay in Florida, and I think the feeling's mutual. If something can get done there, I think that would be great. I'd love to see him end his career in Florida. I know he's not done yet, but getting a couple-year deal there would be pretty cool. I'm not too sure about their talks either. I'm saying that a lot, but I just don't know. I don't have the inside sources. We'll probably hear more on Twitter about that. Jagr's had an impressive career, and wherever he ends up, you know he's going to put 100% into everything that he does. At number 12 is Steve Mason. Now, again, another guy that's pretty high in the list. I know he's not old, and I know you can still give him a shot. He's not a starting goalie. He just isn't. And I know Winnipeg checked in on him the last time I was on Twitter. That would be a good fit. Winnipeg needs goaltending, but is Mason the answer? If you give him that full-time starting role, is he going to be able to take it over? I've seen Mason throughout his entire career. I watched him in junior. I watched him when he played for Canada, like in the juniors, and then obviously I followed him into the NHL. He's a nice guy. He's a pretty good goaltender. Starter, I don't think so. Very good backup. That's what I would go with, and if any team wants to try him as a starter and it works, then that's great, but I think he'll be more of a backup role, and I don't know if he wants that role, and if he's willing to take on the starter role and he kills it, then, that's amazing and good on him. At number 11, it's Brian Boyle. Now, it hurts me to see that name there because I think he's going to end up back in Tampa, but God, would I love him to come back to Toronto. He was so good with the younger players. He put up some decent points for the Leafs, and of course, he put up decent points in Tampa, but he's a big body, great centerman. How about that pass that he made to Kapanen when they scored that overtime winner in Washington? Just a beautiful pass. His hockey IQ is great. He's a big, tough guy. He will defend younger players and all of his teammates. He's a great, great value centerman, and before I probably wouldn't have said that, but I'm a very big fan of Brian Boyle. At number 10 is Sam Gagner. Now, this is going to be one of the guys that gets overpaid. He was on a very, very cheap deal, like $650K. I know that's a lot of money for everybody who's watching this, including me, but he's going to be a guy that gets overpaid. Is he going to match his production? Probably not. If he's smart, he stays in Columbus and continues to just roll on with what they have there. But they are in some cap trouble as well, and I'm not sure they'll be able to keep him. Though they have made a couple moves to free up some space in acquiring Panarin and getting rid of Brendan Saad, I'm not sure if they want to really take that risk with Sam Gagner. And if you're any team that's listening to this, which you're probably not, do not overpay for Sam Gagner. He's going to get overpaid, and he's not going to match that production. I'm personally a fan of him. I want him to succeed. I hope he proves me wrong, but I don't know. It's a guy that I followed through his entire career, and I always wanted the best for him. I wanted him to succeed so bad in Edmonton, but nothing worked out for him there, and his stuff in Columbus has been good, but hopefully he can find that again. I just think he's going to get overpaid. At number 9, another guy that could get overpaid, Martin Hansel. I'm not too sure where his production is going to be. I think he's going to be able to put up points. He's still going to score maybe 10 to 15 goals. Yeah, for the right price, that's great, but we'll have to see where his production lies and where he ends up. Hopefully he doesn't get overpaid. For him, that'd be great, but for teams, not so much. At number 8 is Patrick Marleau, a guy that has scored his entire career and is going to help any team, and I don't think he's going to get paid as much as he was. If he stays in San Jose with Joe Thornton, you could see both of them take a pay cut just to stay. That's just my opinion. But there's a lot of teams interested in Patrick Marleau. I know the Leafs are one of those teams. I'm not positive that they're going to actually go after him. But any team that's going to get Patrick Marleau is going to get a value pickup. I think he'll continue to put up points just like he always has in his entire career. San Jose, man, I honestly hope he stays there a little bit because it's just been a good fit, and he's been a leader there for a long time. So we'll have to see if he can end up staying there. but he will be a great pickup for any team if he does not end up in San Jose. And number 7 is Michael Stone. Now, we know Calgary is trying to keep him, but with the money he's going to want, I don't think it's a great idea. I think that this is another guy that's way too high up on the list. Although defensemen are going to get paid because the market isn't that great, I would not invest everything in Michael Stone. I'm sure that the Leafs are interested in him as well. I'm not saying he's bad. Again, this isn't me dissing these players that are high up on the list or higher than they should be in my opinion. This is just my opinion. I just don't agree that he is that valuable to earn as much money as he's probably going to get. Is he a good defenseman? Yeah, he's pretty good. Should Calgary get him back for the right price? Yeah, if it's a good deal. But any team is going to overpay for this guy because the defenseman market, like I said, is not very good. Stone is good, but for the right amount of money. Number 6 is Joe Thornton, Jumbo Joe. This guy is just going to continue to put up points, continue to be good, continue to dish those passes. This guy will always put up a big number of assists because of how good he is at making plays. His hockey IQ is one of the best in the league, and Joe Thornton would be good for any team, especially in San Jose, like I mentioned with the Marleau thing. I think that he's probably going to wait till Marleau goes somewhere and then make his decision. If both of them end up on the same team and, reunite that chemistry, that would be a good deal for any team. This next guy is Nick Bonino, and he's going to get paid. He comes in at number 5, and he is going to be a great player for a team in their second or third line. I'm not sure if Pittsburgh tries to keep him, but there's a lot of guys in their bottom 6 that is going to get shuffled around. Obviously, they just picked up Reeves, which was a terrible deal in my opinion. Giving up a first-round pick, that's brutal. Anyways, Bonino is a great player. Obviously, he's done great things for Pittsburgh. He was a part of that HBK line. He's won a couple cups now. I'm a big fan of him, and he's a valuable pickup for any team. This high in the list is pretty great for him, and I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying anything negative towards him, but it just shows you. Nick Bonino's usually a third-line player who could probably play on a second line, but is like in the top 5 of this UFA list. So it's not a crazy huge, year for UFAs. At number 4 is Justin Williams. Washington needs to find a way to keep this guy. They need every sort of veteran presence and leader in that locker room that they can get. They are an amazing team, and I'm definitely not dissing them, but they need to take the next step. They kept Oshie. Now it's time to keep Williams. I'm not sure what the contracts are on that front either, or the talks between their agent and the team or the player, whatever. Williams is a valuable pickup for teams that need a veteran presence and a guy who's going to put up points on the 3rd and 4th line most of the time. Just a great player in general, and Washington would be smart to keep him. At number 3 is a guy who's probably going to end up with $6 million per season through this UFA list because he is going to be insanely overpaid. Carl Alsner. Now, the Leafs are probably going to be interested in this guy as well. The defensive market is not very good, and teams are going to overpay. Carl Alsner is not a bad defenseman by any means, but is he a guy that's worth $6 million per season? That's up to these teams to decide, but I'm going to say no. Even though he only had 13 points, I mean, for a defenseman, I guess that's decent. His game is more of a defensive style of game. Is it a great defensive style of game? No. Does he deserve that big cash that he's going to get for this style of game that he plays? No. Do I expect him to be one of the first names getting paid? Yes. At number 2, Montreal Canadiens fans, I'm sorry if you lose this guy. Alexander Radulov, who came back into the NHL and took it by storm. He was incredible for the Montreal Canadiens, not only the way he put up points, but the way he led as well. He was a very good pickup for Montreal, a smart pickup, and now he wants to get paid big time. He wants a lot of term. I think he wants to get a slight upgrade in pay. He's going to get paid over $6 million. He wants 6 or 7 years. Montreal's going to have to be careful with the cap that they have. I think that's why they're making so many moves. They want to fit Radulov in there, I'm sure. But if he goes anywhere else, he's going to be a valuable pickup, and we'll have to see if he continues to play as good as he did in Montreal. Number 1 is Kevin Shattenkirk. Although he wasn't very good in Washington, he did put up 56 points this year. He is a very offensive defenseman. He's not that great on the defensive side of the game. Washington is probably not going to be able to keep him with the money that they dished out to Oshie and, you know, trying to keep Williams more than likely. It would surprise me if they were able to keep Shattenkirk, but he's number one on this list because he does put up a lot of points as a defenseman. I know the Leafs, again, are probably going to at least kick tires on him and see, you know, what he's asking for. I don't necessarily think that his play in Washington is going to completely hurt his value, but at the same time, it didn't really help the way that he performed in the playoffs. He was brought in to give them that extra push, and he didn't really do that much, but it was a team effort. But anyways, this was a long video, even though I said it wasn't going to be. Top 25 UFAs this Saturday, July 1st, Canada Day. There's going to be a live stream, like I said. Let me know where you guys think all these guys are going to sign. Also, again, I'm just going to give a huge thank you to Post to Post for featuring me, and welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you very much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.